One of the Portland area's largest hospitals is under fire this morning. Nurses are saying that their time cards have been intentionally altered by their superiors. Nurses claim this at Providence St. Vincent Medical Center. They say that they have been cheated out of overtime, and it's dating all the way back to 2007. They took this claim straight to the union, saying that nursing supervisors changed their time cards without their permission to reflect fewer minutes worked, so they were then docked for that overtime pay. The union has now filed a grievance.
From the evidence that we've been presented, it's a very serious concern that this would be a practice.
And we have tried repeatedly here at KOIN 6 to get in touch with the hospital for their side of the story, but so far our calls and our messages have gone unreturned. New this morning, police make 2 arrests in connection to a stabbing in Gresham. 21-year-old Carlos Gonzalez Consugra and 24-year-old Eric Farfan are behind bars right now. They both face assault charges as police say the 2 men stabbed James Bass on Wednesday. Officers found Bass at Burnside and 188th at the 7-Eleven. He remains in critical condition at OHSU this morning. All right, thank you for that, Carly. A lot of people heading down for that. And a lot of people heading to the circus this weekend, but not everyone is too happy about that. Animal activists protested the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus yesterday. They were holding these signs with pictures of abused circus animals. This was right in front of the Moda Center, known as the former Rose Garden Arena. Their message, though, was very clear.
We want people to understand that the circus isn't all fun and games. The animals that travel with the circus are forced to perform through threats of violence and intimidation.
Feld Entertainment is the production company that runs this circus, and they say the animals are cared for well, they're happy, and they're healthy. Regardless, the protesters will return tonight. A local surgeon will be no longer allowed to practice medicine and also spend 3 years on probation. Dr. Soraya Abbasian had a plea hearing yesterday, and she pled no contest to performing plastic surgery on a 59-year-old friend who then later died. All this happened back in 2010. If she had fought those charges, though, she would have faced a possibility of 10 years in prison. Her formal sentencing is next month. And new this morning, Twitter is going public. Not surprising, right? The company announced the news in a tweet saying, quote, confidentiality submitted an S-1 to the SEC for a planned IPO. More than 200 people use Twitter daily, and the company was founded in 2006 and makes its money from advertising, estimating at almost $600 million a year. And yes, you can tweet that too. Happening right now, a couple trying to save an historic home in North Portland is certainly facing a lot of challenges. You've probably seen the Rayworth house on North Albina Street. Roy and Kim Fox asked the city for those permits to be able to move it. The classic Victorian home, though, was built in 1895 and set to be demolished before the Foxes bought it. However, in a last-minute move here, the city revoked the permits over some concerns about trees right along that moving route.
You always hear those horror stories about bureaucratic nightmares, and for a large part of this process, this is what this has been.
The couple met with Mayor Charlie Hills yesterday, and the Parks Bureau says they are still working on a solution. But in the meantime here, the demolition clock is still ticking away.
Yeah, they've only got a couple of days. Also, the moving company has to, they've got to fit it into their schedule. So they need to know when this is going to happen.
A lot of factors. Ken was reporting on this yesterday. Going to stay on it for sure.
Yeah, we will definitely keep track of that. I'll tell you, keeping track of the morning commute is starting to kick up now.
It is, yes. All right, thank you for the update there, Carly. Well, parents, Oregon's standardized tests leave a little bit of room for improvement. Writing scores saw a pretty big decrease. Only 60% of juniors could write an acceptable essay, and that's compared to 2/3 that could do the very same thing just the previous year. State education leaders, though, are blaming this performance drop on budget cuts. Reading and math scores were also down in the number of grades. And here's a pretty interesting survey for everyone. Have you ever had a chance to rate your speeding ticket? People are getting to rate it as acceptable, exceptional, or needs improvement, as the study comes from the Portland Police Bureau. They're wanting feedback now on how people experience their encounters with officers after they have a traffic stop, after they have a crash, or even a regular incident. It's managed by the University of Illinois, and they're going to be sending letters to people after run-ins with police. All your answers, though, will be kept anonymous.
My last speeding ticket was unacceptable. Got a craving for a Big Mac? that, but you're short on cash? Well, McDonald's has you covered. The fast food giant is testing a new mobile payment app at stores in Salt Lake City and Austin, Texas. You can use this to order and pay in advance, then drive up or walk in, grab your food, and just go. Sounds like it won't be long before it's available everywhere. And I know a few people here at Coin who would love to be able to do that.
I'm just saying, if anybody wants to bring it, it wouldn't be me who's eating it, but I wouldn't turn it away.
Well, let's talk about a different kind of corn maze.
Yeah, this one's actually pretty cool out there. You can check it out. It is 10 acres in a cornfield, and it's all a tribute to Green Bay Packers wide receiver Donald Driver. He is retired now, but the Moyer Farm in Chilton, Wisconsin decided to honor the football and Dancing with the Stars great by designing this corn maze in his image. The family says that Driver earned the honor for his work both on and off of the field. You know, just a little background on here. Donald Driver actually does at least 50% of community service all week long in Wisconsin. He's just so active in that community, so he's loved.
Yeah, Alyssa knows a little bit of something about Wisconsin.
No, a little bit about Wisconsin and the Donald Driver. Double D is loved. That's all I can say. He is.
Well, hey.
Well, we're going to see some changes in the weather coming up here pretty soon, aren't we?
Yeah, especially coming in next week.
All right, thank you for that, Riley. It is 6:21 right now, and thousands of fish have died in the waters near Honolulu. Why health officials are saying they know what's to blame. Well, do you know what the tallest peak is in America? If you guessed Mount McKinley, you are still right. It's the tallest, but it's not quite as tall as everybody originally thought. There was a new effort to update all the maps using radar technology, so now it shows that the mountain actually stands at 20,237 feet, and that is 83 feet shorter than the estimates from the early 1950s. And we go from mountains to space. NASA believes its Voyager 1 probe is now the first man-made object to leave our solar system ever. A new study is in the journal Science, and it suggests that the probe drifted off around August of last year. Researchers saying it's still gathering data, though, about outer space, but there is some controversy around whether or not that probe has left. The Voyager was launched in 1977, but the device that measures all the density around the probe broke sometime in the 1980s. So as of today, the odometer on Voyager 1 is 11.7 billion miles from Earth and still counting. Regardless, it is out there far. 6:26 right now, and protesters are gearing up to show their support for one of City Hall's laid-off employees. What is fueling their need to rally?